So, Coach, how are Katie and Brad and Grayson coming
Um, I'll start with Brad. I think he's did not practice today, so I think it's going to take him a little bit more time. Kevin did everything today. Looked good. We'll see how he reacts to today, but I think we're hopeful for tomorrow. And I'd say Grayson probably did a little bit less, but I think hopeful for tomorrow, and that I think just a little bit more time, and those two guys should be good.
Do you guys have a status for any of them yet?
That's not my job. I'll just coach. So I don't even know what the status report means anymore.
Have they given you an indication on Cody? I know he was kind of dealing with the sports hernia, what his kind of timetable might look like.
Yeah, I think the next couple days. I don't think we foresee him, clearing the hurdles and being ready to go. And the break could be, the timing for him could be good. So again, I don't want to speak on all the medical, even though I know that's part of my role. But I think my guess is Cody will need these couple of days and then the break, and I think continue to evaluate where he is.
Coach, yesterday Hubie Brown had his final broadcast, for the Milwaukee Bucks Sixers game. So he said that there's coaches that actually have come into the league or take over a team with three different jobs, either taking a team that's mid-range and maybe getting to 50 wins, or maybe a team that's really good and getting to 55 wins, and that all falls on you. And so have you had any interactions with him, or any nuggets that he's given you along the way in your coaching career?
Yes, like Hubie, Coach Brown has been, I think, a huge influence on, so many coaches, so many players too. You talk to guys that played for him, Pose, and just a lot of different people. His attention to detail, his understanding of the game at a high level, the pregame, conversations with him about that day's game, and the questions he would ask, the statistical and analytical questions. Just being around him, you always learn and grow. He's one of my favorite people in the league. He's a legend. I think the sport is forever grateful for everything he's done for players and coaches and the sport and broadcasting. So, yes, he's given me a lot of nuggets. He dropped nuggets left and right. I think every time he speaks, he's speaking nuggets. So, yes.
Kevin was just talking about the last week and what that's been like for him. And he has said, and you have said, that everyone's a pro and it's the business of the NBA. But at the same time, in your experience, does it take guys, when they had their names out there like that, a couple days just to kind of process and get that through their systems?
I think everybody's different. How people, process and think about things and how long it takes. I don't think any there's not like a script. So I think Kevin's in a good place with his teammates, with coaches today in practice, on the bench. He's just been a great leader for us, great teammate, and I think he has high standards for himself, high expectations of himself, and I don't think any of that will change.
Final 2 games before heading into the All-Star break, what are the little details that you're looking to fine-tune?
Yeah, I always start with us being good defensively. I think continuing to grow on that end of the court, and I think a continued emphasis on rebounding. We got to finish the possessions. We got to be better there. But our activity, our connectivity, when we're active and we're communicating, we're connected, that's when we're our best defensively. And then running off of it, running with our spacing, our running habits have to be kind of solid or perfect. And and then when we're moving the ball and we're finding threes, can we improve our ability to go get offensive boards? So it's kind of a cycle. We need to be good in that whole cycle.
When you're looking at Nick specifically and like what he has to do sort of to close games now, what are some of the points of progress that you'd like to see for him to sort of or earn that spot in closing time?
Yeah, part of it is, I think, just familiarity and knowing everything, and you have to have more reps, you have to have more time, you have to have more times of hearing what we're calling, running a side out of bounds, underneath out of bounds, a defensive coverage, an adjustment to a defensive coverage. So there's, you can't make up for a training camp and make up for all that time just instantaneously. So I think, he's just got to continue to get as many reps as he can, take it all in, process it, and be ready to do it to close a game. I think there is, decision making, passing, when to go get a basket, things like that, where, he's got to continue to grow. And defensively, again, communicating, letting people know where he is, what he's doing. But he's overall been good. To finish, is probably maybe that next level. And he's finished some games. But with he and Mason, we feel like we both have good options.
He's the type of guy that just wants to block every single shot. What's the balance for you as a coach between encouraging that, but at the same time not leaving the backside open on some of those situations?
No, I want him to go block shots. I would like for the guys maybe in front of him to be better and not put him in those spots. We got to be good defensively as a group and maybe rely less on him, and that might help him keep. But if there's an opportunity and there's need for him to protect the rim, we need other guys that have his back and that are getting hits and, taking care of him when he does come to block shots.
You're talking dribble penetration just as much as the weak side rebound.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's, if there's penetration, and this league's hard. We want to keep the ball in front of us. We want to keep the ball out of the paint, but it's also, there's a realistic side to where he's got to be a weak side shot blocker. He's got to come and make an impact there, and we got to help him on that weak side glass.
Thanks.
We trying to get my thoughts on it? Yes. It's just business, man. It's just part of the business, Everybody is bought and sold in this league, so anybody could be up for auction, you know what I mean? So I understand that. And it's just about getting back on the court, trying to go out there and play the game that I love, It's a part of the business, though, man. We all got to understand that.
And Jay was talking about you being a pro, that you've heard it before about your career. This is nothing new. But on the flip side, also it was out there that they were trying to trade you for Jim. I'm asking, how do you feel about that?
I've been around noise before, where whole spotlights on your team and people got so much to say about the group. Yeah, I've been through that before, and like I said, I understand the business, and that's what we all signed up for. And nobody's above the system, as much as how much status I got and how much I've acquired in this league, you're still not above the business, and I always understood that. So it's about doing the best I can on the floor, man, and focusing on that, keeping the main thing. The business, they'll take care of itself.
Speaking of business, the other thing I had was, moving forward with you obviously you could have signed a 1-year extension, and then they were talking about a 2-year extension. Does all of this make you think differently about the organization moving forward?
No, I always had a goal of just playing my contract out and seeing what happens. I can't focus on a year and a half down the line. I try to focus on the day ahead of me, and I know that'll be a topic. That's probably the most frustrating part about being in trade talks, is that the microscope won't be on solely just me the rest of the season. And my body language, how I speak to you guys after the games, how I'm looking on the bench, that stuff would be magnified. Which sucks, but like I said, that's a part of the business I got to just deal with and accept. But if I keep the main thing, then that could be the main focus. We turn around and play well, people will focus on that.
Kevin, for clarity's sake, so we can get back to basketball shortly after this, your relationship with the front office before the trade deadline as opposed to after the trade deadline, do you feel like it's still the same, or has it changed at all?
I always keep my relationships under wraps. I don't think I should be speaking on our personal relationships out to the public. I don't think that's fair to the people involved in that. So I'm out here to do my job and to do it the best as I can and support everybody in the building as much as I can. And that's always been my goal every time I step in here.
And you've seen this KD button sort of effect before,
Say what?
Right? You've seen this KD button effect, as you've called it before. We're going into Monday of that week. Your name wasn't really out there at all, and then all of a sudden you were all over TVs all week.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a part of the game, and it's a double-edged sword when you build yourself up to be this great and you do it for this long. Shit like that happens, It's not a bad thing that people around the league want me to play for them. It's not a bad thing that my organization here is fighting off people to keep me on the team or even dangle me in trades. That's just, part of being a part of the high demand, So I can understand that part of it. this is the most important thing, though, when that ball is bouncing and we're in here together as a unit, as a family. So I look forward to that every day. Yeah, I heard Ramona Shelburne come out and say our locker room is toxic, and I try to tell people who's not around this game as much, is that it's easy to say our locker room is not connected when you come in there 45 minutes before and guys are in their game modes. We're not talking to each other. 4 or 5 guys might be in the training room. A few guys might be in the weight room. It's not a welcoming environment right before the game. You know what I'm saying? And that's just part of getting ready to play, you know? So I think it's unfair and lazy to categorize our team as toxic when you come in there for 5 minutes throughout 4 months. That's the only time you've been in our locker room. Then you can make a narrative. I don't think that's fair to us, but like I said, that's part of the game. That's part of the business we signed up for. Shit's not fair in this game, but we got to deal with it and accept it.
I think there was a report that you were blindsided that your name was out there. Is that accurate? Did you not see that coming?
I didn't see it coming, but the organization got to do what they got to do for the betterment of their organization. You know, even if I'm blindsided or not, it doesn't matter. It's just part of the business. You know what I'm saying? And as a player, you got to be prepared for anything. I've been traded before. I moved teams before. I got up and switched my whole situation up mid-season. So you got to be prepared for anything in this league. And so being blindsided doesn't even matter.
And obviously, you're a pro. You've been through this, but can you give
Let's
us
get this straight. I haven't been through this before, but I understand what's going on. You know.
Can you give us an idea, Kevin, what it's like to go through something like that and then have to come back and then act like just everything's fine again? That seems like that would be tough.
No, because my teammates, my coaches, they're not the ones that's having these conversations. It's usually the front office and the people that I don't really see as much as my teammates and coaches. So yeah, I can lock in on the task at hand and focus on the team and my coaching staff as much as I can, because that's the most important thing. And like I said, let the business take care of itself. And whoever called me and tell me I need to go, then I got to go. But if I can, like I said, I wanted to stay here and figure this thing out and see this thing through. So if I can get in the way of something like a trade, then why not? So like I said, like I've been saying, it's all a part of the game, and it's something that we got to accept and deal with and move forward. So we got a game tomorrow. I try to focus on.
Jerry, they talk about people are going to analyze your body language and what you're doing sitting on the bench. Is that something you've ever found yourself thinking about as you're on the bench? Like, is there a camera on me and what my face looks like?
No. I mean, I drive myself crazy, man. Microscope been on me for a long time, people trying to find something. So I still got to be a human being and still react to stuff that I usually do, So I try not to think too much about it, but once again, it's a part of the game. And, it's a part of it when you become this level of great, and you just got to deal with it.
James also said that none of this happens if you guys are playing up to your potential. How surprised are you, Kevin, just to kind of be where you guys are, just at 500 at this point of the year?
Yeah, I wish we could be playing better, and I know we could be better. But we still got 31 games to go that we can kind of turn this thing around. It's pretty bunched up in the Western Conference, so I feel like a lot of teams are still, playing on that level of trying to figure things out and get better as well, so that helps us a little bit. And so yeah, that's what happens when you're not winning games, and you spend a lot of money on a team, and you get a lot of scrutiny and criticism for what you're doing as a front office or ownership group. So yeah, somebody's gonna be up for discussions. That's just a part of the game. It's on us as players to go out there and change the minds of people making those decisions and get our fans behind us and following us and supporting us even more. So that's on the players.
Speaking of playing, obviously, you're much better with you on the floor. You haven't played in the game, got the ankle, so you've been getting off some pregame work.
Yeah, I feel good. Looking forward to getting out there tomorrow, trying to help the team win and get back to doing something I love. It's terrible when you can't play. I think that was when I was able to get back to practice. I reflected a little bit in the last few days. I was more frustrated that I was injured and I couldn't play through the noise and the bullshit. And I had to sit and just listen to it, So usually your play can overshadow some of that stuff. But that's probably the most frustrating thing. So it's good to get back on the floor.
With getting
Sorry,
back
did
on
it?
the
Go ahead.
with getting back on the floor, what are your thoughts on the new guys, the new additions, and Vasa and Cody and what they can bring to the team?
Yeah, I always appreciated Cody's intensity and Voss's just skill for the game. You know, he's been in the league for only a couple years. You know, looking forward to adding them to the group and try to make it as comfortable as possible for them. I know Cody may be a little injured, I don't know for sure, but when he gets back on the floor, I just try to make the game as easy as we can for him and make their transition easy. So I'm looking forward to building with them as men and as teammates.
Did it amuse you that when you had the ankle injury, we very clearly saw it on the floor that people were further using that as speculation, or did that just not surprise you?
Yeah, people don't watch basketball games, so I kind of understood. Like I keep saying, man, it's just a part of the nature of the beast, man. People gonna make shit up and create narratives and be biased and not use context. And I can cry all I want about that type of stuff, but nobody really cares at the end of the day, you know. Life ain't fair, the game ain't fair. We just gotta go out there and we make a decision to be in this life. If I ain't want to be here, I can just retire and quit and be well off, but you know, this is the life I chose.
You're a basketball savant, but also a hip hop savant. Pride yourself on that. So, what would you take seeing the halftime show yesterday, Kendrick doing "Not Like Us"?
It meant nothing to me.
You talked about Drake before as great. This scrum before in the past, so that's what I'm wondering is, do you have any thoughts on what you said?
No thoughts. I didn't really pay attention to it, to be honest. It was a pretty boring day. As for a Super Bowl, the game was a little, the game got out of hand. The Super Bowl halftime show was just, I didn't pay attention to it. It was just I kind of skimmed through the whole thing, to be honest.
Kevin, to your point about keeping the main thing, you've talked about how much you enjoy being in Phoenix. Does it bother you that there's this misconception about, moving forward, whether you're happy here or whether you're going to want out, that type of thing?
That's a little, like I keep saying this, it's a part of the game, but if I want to talk in detail, that's a little frustrating that it's going to be in question because I never even insinuated that I wanted to move teams. So, my happiness will be evaluated, but when it should be the front office's happiness that you should be monitoring every day just because they make these decisions, So I get that I'm more visible than everybody, and I got the bigger name, and so everybody's gonna try to understand what my feelings are like in this time. But it's more than just me that goes through this situation. There's a lot of people involved, so I guess you want to understand my feelings, but it should be a lot of other people's feelings that you should be trying to figure out too and see where their heads at. So it's more than just me, and that's how I feel. But even if they don't check in on everybody else that's involved and they only focus on me, that's just the game that I'm in. That's the life that I chose. I got to accept it.
You feel like you deserve a heads up?
I don't deserve nothing. I got to work to earn and get everything. I don't deserve anything. I don't expect anything from any person. I'm not entitled to anything. I just go out there and do my job, and if I'm compensated for doing my job, cool. If not, I move on. That's how I kind of look at stuff. So I don't expect nothing from nobody. I don't expect them or feel entitled that they owe me anything. So I just got to focus on my job.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.